Imagine for a moment that you are granted infinite power.
Right.
Like you are given a jetpack. You have absolute vertical mobility, pure, unadulterated freedom, and, the ability to soar above the crushing friction of daily life.
A total release from gravity.
Exactly. So you strap it on, you engage the thrusters, you launch yourself into the sky with a triumphant shout, and then within zero point 0.8 seconds, you fly headfirst into a spinning rusted buzzsaw and completely explode.
It is the ultimate rug pull of the universe. I mean, the promise of total agency instantly annihilated by a hostile, procedurally generated reality.
Yeah, and that is exactly what we are dissecting today. Welcome to Off the Record, and let me just state this clearly for you, the listener, the invisible third intellect in our room.
The silent partner.
Right, the silent partner. Off the Record is the canonical title of this show. We exist strictly off the record, and we invite you into the space of rigorous, unfiltered analysis.
Today's deep dive is centered on an incredibly dense, profoundly illuminating cultural artifact. We are analyzing a 3-hour live broadcast, a digital symposium, essentially, from the FriendZone show on the Polaris network.
Yeah, and on the surface, it features an eclectic pantheon of internet and pop culture figures. You've got Jason Mewes of Jay and Silent Bob fame, alongside digital luminaries like Danny from Ninja Sex Party, Strippin', Holly, and Dodger.
And if you merely skimmed this broadcast, you would think it was just a group of friends playing deeply frustrating video games and answering ridiculous questions.
But our mission today is to look at the underlying architecture. We are going to analyze this stream as a microcosm of how human beings negotiate the brutal reality of failure.
The illusion of control.
Yes, exactly. We are watching 5 people desperately try to assert their own identities in a chaotic, uncaring universe.
It is a profound case study in existential dread. But before we dismantle this broadcast, we really must address the atmosphere of our own studio. Our director, Ryan Thomas, who meticulously curates the environment for our deep dives, has provided us with today's provisions.
Yes, Ryan is looking very sharp behind the glass today, and he has prepared a multi-stage tasting flight of incredibly high-proof artisanal mezcal.
It is smoky, complex, and honestly visually intimidating.
Jesus.
And yet Ryan, in his infinite and deeply frustrating wisdom, has chosen to pair this elegant intellectual spirit with a towering, structurally catastrophic platter of heavily sauced sloppy joes.
Yeah.
The juxtaposition is borderline hostile. It's a culinary paradox. The ground beef is practically cascading over the edges of the plate.
It's a messy spread for a messy topic, right? We're consuming the chaotic substance of life while chasing it with the refined, burning clarity of truth.
That is beautifully put.
Thank you. Let's pour the first glass of this mezcal and dive right into the thematic spine of our analysis, which is the concept of agency versus fate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, wow. That is
a serious kick.
Yeah. So the broadcast opens with a Would You Rather gauntlet. And this segment is fascinating because Would You Rather as a psychological framing device is never really about the choices themselves.
Right. It's an ontological exercise.
Exactly. It forces the participant to define what kind of suffering they find acceptable.
Precisely. And they begin with a scenario that seems completely absurd, but immediately establishes our theme. The choice is, would you rather breakdance violently in a crowded room or watch a YouTube video titled Love in a Minute?
And the stream unanimously gravitates toward the violent breakdancing. But we have to look at the why.
Jason Mewes brings up a very specific viral piece of imagery to justify this. He recalls a video where a breakdancer is executing a flawless, high-energy routine, and right in the middle of a spin, he accidentally delivers a devastating roundhouse kick to the chin of a small child who wandered into the circle.
A child. And the crucial detail Mewes emphasizes is that the dancer just lands on his feet and calmly walks away.
And the stream finds this hilarious. They all choose the breakdancing option because of that specific violent visual.
Right, so let's extrapolate the psychology here. Why do they prefer being the vector of chaos? The breakdancer is a metaphor for the collateral damage we all inevitably inflict just by existing.
Oh, absolutely.
You are just trying to execute your routine. You are trying to navigate your career, your relationships, your life with some semblance of grace and rhythm, and boom. Without malicious intent, you roundhouse kick someone's emotional stability right in the chin.
It is entirely about agency. They are making a fundamental calculation about vulnerability. They would rather be the dancer than the child.
Yeah, exactly.
They would rather be the one dealing the blow, even accidentally, than be the passive victim of the universe's arbitrary violence. By choosing to be the breakdancer, They're choosing to hold the locus of control.
Speaking of mitigating vulnerability, they briefly pivot to a highly specific historical combat scenario.
Oh, right.
The choice is facing a Frankish foe while wearing a suit of rings, meaning chainmail, versus wearing leather.
This is a brief, almost desperate grasp for practical self-preservation.
Yeah.
I mean, they get surprisingly analytical about the physics of it.
They really do.
They debate the weight of steel versus aluminum rings, the mobility afforded by leather, the blunt force trauma distribution of chainmail. It's an attempt to apply logic to an illogical world before they are plunged right back into the surreal.
Which brings us to the psychological masterpiece of the segment. And this sloppy Joe is, wow, the sauce is incredibly sweet.
It really is.
Okay, so the dilemma is this. Spend 5 minutes on a trampoline with 20 porcupines, or cross a 100-yard pool of hungry sharks using only monkey bars.
This scenario is a perfectly constructed trap for the human ego. I mean, it exposes the psychological phenomenon known as optimism bias, combined with the illusion of control.
Because look at how the stream reacts. They don't engage with the tragic binary of the question. They immediately start trying to min-max reality.
They look for loopholes.
Right. Strippin, almost instinctively, suggests you just climb on top of the monkey bars and casually walk across the 100 yards.
Which is absurd.
Totally absurd. And someone else argues you could use the kinetic energy of the trampoline to systematically bounce the 20 porcupines out of the enclosure.
This is what makes us human. We categorically refuse to accept that suffering is a guaranteed closed system. We look at the absolute parameters of our doom and say, but what if I exploit the physics engine of this scenario?
Yeah.
The sharks represent spectacular, certain death. The porcupines represent guaranteed, unavoidable, immediate suffering.
And they choose the sharks. They choose the monkey bars, even though they openly admit they have terrible upper body strength.
They know they would immediately fall.
But they choose it anyway. Why?
Because we will always choose the path where we can imagine outsmarting the system. I mean, a 100-yard monkey bar sprint over a shark tank is physically impossible for the average person.
Yeah.
But it offers a 0.1% chance of total victory. The trampoline offers a 100% chance of painful pinpricks. We would rather die believing we had a chance at glory than face the mundane, inescapable pinpricks of reality.
The porcupines are the daily grind. The porcupines are traffic and taxes and awkward social interactions.
Exactly.
The sharks are a spectacular cinematic failure. I'm going to take another sip of this mezcal. It really cuts through the terrifying sweetness of Ryan's sandwich sauce.
It's a profound observation on denial. And they carry this exact psychological armor directly into the next morbid scenario, which is drowning in hot coffee versus dying in lava.
This one is brilliant because it forces them to confront the mechanics of their own consciousness. The consensus leans towards lava, and the underlying deduction is so revealing.
It really is.
They rationalize that lava creates a massive thermal shock, an ash cloud, toxic fumes. The sheer overwhelming trauma of the lava would cause your nervous system to shut down. You would pass out before you had to fully process your own destruction.
Whereas the hot coffee, as Ganny points out, coffee is a stimulant. If you drown in hot coffee, the caffeine enters your bloodstream simultaneously as your lungs fill with scorching liquid.
Oh, God.
You are awake. You are hyper-aware. You are experiencing the ultimate heightened sensory nightmare of your own demise.
And isn't that exactly the condition of the modern era?
What do you mean?
That is what we are doing right now. We are collectively drowning in hot coffee. We are so stimulated, so hyper-connected to the digital feed, so constantly caffeinated and plugged into the 24-hour news cycle, that we are entirely agonizingly conscious of our own societal drowning.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We don't get the mercy of the lava. We don't get the sudden blissful ignorance of the ash cloud. We get the caffeine jitters while the water level slowly rises over our heads.
We seek the oblivion of the lava because we are fundamentally exhausted by the hypervigilance required by the coffee. That is honestly a devastatingly accurate assessment of modern burnout. Good Lord.
What's wrong?
This sandwich is a structural disaster. Ryan, the structural integrity of this bun is genuinely offensive.
It is falling apart.
The bottom half has completely dissolved into the sauce. I have sloppy Joe on my cuff.
Just use the napkin. Don't let Ryan break your focus. We are doing important work here.
He knows what he's doing. It's an aggressive catering choice.
Let's look at the superpower trade-off, because this is where the stream gets into a discussion that genuinely struck a nerve for me.
Okay.
The classic dilemma of a miraculous ability saddled with a grotesque drawback. The choice is flying, but you are farting constantly, like one continuous, unending expulsion of gas versus breathing underwater, but everything you eat for the rest of your life tastes like bile.
The stream overwhelmingly chooses flying and farting. And their justification is a masterclass in cognitive dissonance.
It really is.
They reframe the constant flatulence not as a negative, but as a double positive. They argue it's a propulsive bonus. They convince themselves that the very thing making them socially radioactive is actually assisting their flight.
This is where I have to push back on their logic and honestly on human nature in general, because I see this every single day. People take their most abrasive, alienating, deeply problematic character flaws and they desperately try to spin them as superpowers.
You think so?
Yes. Like, oh, I'm not a narcissist. I just have visionary self-belief. Oh, I'm not a constant, continuous fart. I'm just uniquely propulsive.
You seem to be projecting quite a bit onto this hypothetical.
I just think it's incredibly sad. We are so terrified of admitting we have a genuine noxious weakness that we pretend our toxic gases are the things keeping us aloft.
Why?
Think about the bile. If everything tastes like bile, at least you are grounded in the visceral reality of your own bitter existence. You are forced to confront it. You aren't literally blowing hot air to stay above the crowd.
I categorically disagree with your interpretation. It is not sad. It is an exhibition of human resilience. I mean, they are presented with a horrific aesthetic drawback to a miracle power, and they choose to embrace the miracle anyway. They refuse to let shame ground them. Why wouldn't you want to fly? Let them fly.
While smelling terrible to everyone around them, they are choosing isolation. They're going to be flying alone forever.
Oh, wait, Ryan is... Voice from the control room. He's saying, hey guys, time for the vocal exercise.
Oh, okay, Ryan is prompting us from the booth.
He's interrupting a breakthrough moment of psychological analysis for a diction drill. Typical.
Well, we have to maintain our vocal clarity for the listener. It's part of the process. Ready?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan.
Liam Neeson's niece, Lisa Neeson, recently leased a really nice Nissan.
Excellent. Articulation is key. Now, where were we? Ah, yes. We're moving from the abstract moral hypotheticals of would you rather directly into the physical execution of those themes. Because after this philosophical warm-up, the stream boots up a game called Mount Your Friends.
Let me pour the second flight of mezcal. This one is visually denser. It has a remarkable viscosity.
Yeah, that's going to have a kick. So Mount Your Friends. If you, the listener, are unfamiliar with this piece of media, it is an exercise in profound anatomical unsettling.
Truly.
You have these characters. They are fleshy, hypermuscular men wearing nothing but sweet pink briefs. And they are assigned algorithmically generated names. Glorious, horrifying names.
Twain Selfridge, Sean Bathtub Drowner, Derek Gene Weston Jersey. I mean, the juxtaposition of these mundane, almost bureaucratic names with their hypermasculine, nearly nude avatars is a masterclass in absurdist comedy.
But the mechanics are what truly matter. The control scheme is a spiritual successor to a niche game called QWOP.
Oh God, QWOP.
For the uninitiated, imagine trying to run a marathon, but instead of just pushing a joystick forward, you have to consciously, manually command your left thigh to contract, your right calf to extend, your left knee to bend, using different independent buttons.
It creates deliberate, agonizing friction between intention and action.
Exactly.
In Mount Your Friends, you control the four limbs of these men independently. You have to swing them, utilizing physics and momentum, and what the stream affectionately refers to as their dongles, to climb atop a growing, precarious tower of other men.
It's communal QWOP. It's vertical. And Dodger is the reigning champion of this entire process. She actively defends her title as the, quote, dongle master.
And her strategy reveals a fascinating systemic flaw in the game's architecture. Dodger realizes that starting your climb from the left side of the screen is structurally, mathematically easier than starting from the right. The physics engine favors the left approach.
It's an unequal playing field. It's the perfect metaphor for systemic inequality. Life isn't fair, even when you're a virtual man in pink underwear trying to climb over your friends to reach the top. Some people just spawn on the left side of the screen.
This mezcal is, wow. Ryan is being an absolute fuck with this pour, by the way. This is incredibly strong. It's aggressive.
It's very agave forward. Just pace yourself.
I am pacing myself. He's being an aggressive fuck. Anyway, the left side advantage. But what elevates Mount Your Friends from a crude, physics-based gag into a piece of transcendent interactive art is the audio design.
The music. The music changes everything.
As the men start climbing, The game plays this sweeping, tragic, Les Miserables-style orchestral score. It sounds like a revolution failing.
It really does.
It sounds like men dying on the barricades in 19th century France. And as the Tower of Bodies gets higher, as the time limit ticks down and the mechanical panic sets in, this music swells with poignant, desperate majesty.
It transforms the game into a tragedy of the Foundation. You have these men, these Dwayne Selfridges, contorting their limbs, sticking to each other's faces, desperate to reach the top.
Yeah.
They just want to be the one who breaks the plane of the highest altitude. And while they're scrambling, clawing over each other to touch the sky, we have to talk about the goat.
Yes, we must address the goat. Ontologically, the goat is the single most important figure in this entire 3-hour broadcast.
At the very bottom of this grotesque, writhing monument to human ambition, there is a single static goat standing on the ground. He forms the base.
He does.
He doesn't move. He doesn't complain. He just silently bears the weight of the first man, and by extension, the weight of everyone else's frantic, desperate scrambling.
The goat is the ultimate unsung hero of the digital age.
Yeah.
I mean, the stream jokes about him, noting that there are unspoken laws against touching the goat because the first climber usually manages to stick his limbs just slightly above him.
Right.
But think about the goat's existence. He is foundational. Without the goat, there is no tower. He absorbs the sheer kinetic ridiculousness of everything happening above him and remains entirely stoically unfazed.
Mm.
The goat is the bedrock of civilization.
Wow.
The goat is the working class. The goat is the silent majority holding up the absurd, flailing vanity projects of the elite.
I relate to the goat so much.
There we go.
I do. I really do. I feel like if I examine the architecture of my own personal relationships, I'm always the goat.
You are a highly respected audio overview host. You are not a farm animal.
I am. Emotionally, I am. I'm just standing there completely still, hovering slightly above the ground, and I just let people climb all over me.
Oh,
They swing their baggage, their drama, their emotional dongles right in my face, and they just use me as a stepping stone to get higher, to feel better about themselves. And I just take it. I just sit there and listen to the tragic orchestral music of my own life while they reach for the stars.
Please do not weep into the artisanal mezcal.
Yeah.
Brian paid a lot of money for it.
I'm not weeping. My eyes are reacting to the sheer volatility of this sloppy Joe sauce.
Yeah, they are.
But it's fundamentally true. We are all just trying to build a tower of bodies so we can have an identity above the crowd. But someone has to be the goat. Why is it always me? Why can't I be Sean Bathtub Grounder swinging freely through the air?
Because you lack the upper body strength, and you refuse to take the left side approach to life. But speaking of foundational support, your emotional breakdown has suddenly reminded me of our logistical obligations.
Yeah.
You, the listener.
Oh, yeah.
Pause this audio right now. Go to our YouTube channel, HEMOTR, the official channel for Off the Record.
Yes, please do.
Like and subscribe. Do it right now. Engage with the algorithm. Do it for the goat.
Do for the goat.
Do it for the structural integrity of this show. Because Ryan certainly isn't providing any with these goddamn sandwiches. Look at this plate. It's a massacre of beef and bread. He is a culinary fuck.
Okay, let's breathe. Let's pour the third glass. We need to transition.
Fine. Keep pouring. Fill it to the brim.
The act of building a tower of bodies to seek an identity above the crowd. It is a perfect, logical segue into the stream's literal game of hidden identities. The celebrity game.
Ah, yes. The fragmentation of the self. The Johari window made manifest via post-it notes.
Explain the Johari window for the listener, because that is the perfect psychological framework for this.
Right, so the Johari window is a psychological tool created to help people better understand their relationship with themselves and others. It's a grid. One quadrant is what you know about yourself and others know about you.
Right.
But the crucial quadrant for this game is the blind spot, which is what others know about you, but you do not know about yourself.
And the celebrity game weaponizes the blind spot. The rules are beautifully simple. They write a video game character's name on a piece of paper and tape it to another person's forehead. The person then has to ask yes or no questions to deduce their own identity.
The logistics of executing this on a live stream are inherently comedic. I mean, they have to tape the names without looking in the mirror that is apparently situated right behind the camera.
Yeah.
The honor system is in full effect. But it's the identities they choose that reveal the complexity of the digital self.
Let's start with Deadpool. Danny gets Deadpool taped to his head. And the subsequent debate over Deadpool's fundamental nature is, it completely derails the stream.
Danny asks a basic taxonomic question. He says, am I a human? Am I a mutant? and the table cannot agree. They completely fracture. Jason Mewes insists he's a human bastardization.
Yeah.
Someone else says he's a mutant. Someone says he's just a human who got cancer and was injected with an experimental serum.
They lose the thread of the game entirely to argue Marvel lore. But look at what it represents. This is what Off the Record is fundamentally about.
Wait, what was I saying?
You were about to explain the bastardization of the human form.
Right. The Deadpool argument. It is an incredible, profound insight into the ontology of the self. Deadpool is the ultimate symbol of medical intervention gone wrong, of identity so violently fractured that even the people observing him cannot categorize him.
Exactly.
Are we human? Are we just the sum of the chemicals injected into us, the media we consume, the traumas we endure? Are we mutants adapting to a toxic environment? If society cannot agree on what you are, how can you possibly guess the name on your own forehead?
Wait, what?
What was my initial point? I completely lost it. The mezcal it's very warm.
Your point was about the fragmentation of identity, which perfectly leads into Holly's character, Miss Pac-Man. This is where the sociological implications really hit hard.
Yes, Miss Pac-Man. The clues Holly is given are absurdly reductive. She is told she is a female, non-human creature from an old turn-based game who has accessories.
The accessories, that's the part that destroys me. A bow and some lipstick. That is the only thing differentiating her from the default male Pac-Man. She is defined entirely, 100%, by her gendered accessories. And isn't that just modern dating?
Right.
Modern dating. The entire digital dating ecosystem, it reduces us all to our accessories. You go on an app, and you aren't viewed as a complex, non-human entity navigating a terrifying maze of ghosts.
What?
You are just the bow. You are the lipstick. You are the picture of yourself holding a fish on a boat. You are the fact that you put fluent in sarcasm in your bio.
Okay.
We are all just yellow circles frantically trying to consume little pellets of affection, terrified of being consumed by the ghosts of our past trauma. And the only way we differentiate ourselves in the endless scroll is by putting a little red bow on our head.
That makes a horrifying amount of sense. This sandwich is so messy.
I know it does, because I feel like I have a Post-it note on my forehead on every single date I go on, and I am the only one who doesn't know what it says. And they are just sitting there, looking at me across the table, answering my yes or no questions.
Like what?
Am I emotionally available? No. Am I projecting my insecurities onto this appetizer? Yes. It's exhausting.
Listener, I want to ask you something directly. Have you ever felt like you have a Post-it note on your head and everyone in the room knows exactly who you are, what your fundamental flaws are, what your ultimate tragic fate will be, except you?
It's a terrifying thought.
Because you can't see the label. You just have to guess based on how people react to you. Because Ryan definitely knows what my Post-it says. Don't you, Ryan?
Is he winking at you?
He's pretending to adjust the audio levels. But he knows. He curated this exact meal for a reason. He knows my post. It says, will complain bitterly but eventually eat the entire mess because he craves approval. He's a beautiful, manipulative fuck.
Let's talk about the other characters. We need to maintain structure, Ratchet and Clank or Banjo-Kazooie. The animal with his sidekick. A symbiotic relationship where one cannot function without the other. And Kirby, cute, on Nintendo, doesn't wear green.
Kirby is the ultimate existential terror. I mean, think about the mechanics of Kirby, a creature whose entire identity is based on consuming others, digesting them, and adopting their traits, a completely malleable self with no core identity other than hunger. Kirby is the void.
But the realization here, the core truth of the celebrity game, is that we cannot see our own labels. We cannot control how the world perceives us. We can only ask questions in the dark and hope we figure it out before the game ends.
Yeah.
And this realization that we cannot control our own destinies, that we are entirely at the mercy of the game's rules, leads us brutally, violently into the next segment of the stream.
Cloudberry Kingdom.
Let me pour the next flight. Just hold your glass steady.
Pull it up. We need the thermal shock for this.
Cloudberry Kingdom. It is a masochistic platformer. The developer literally categorizes the difficulty as masochistic.
That tells you everything.
The level design is a thesis on procedurally generated hostility. But before they even play, before they even touch the terrifying reality of the game, they spend an inordinate amount of time on the customization screen.
The customization screen. It is the pinnacle of human artistic hubris. The avatars they create. They are breathtaking in their absurdity. Pringles mustache, Jesus. And Jetpack Rasta.
Pringles mustache, Jesus. It's poetry. It's the human spirit demanding to be recognized.
Let me tell you right now, and I say this with absolutely academic certainty, Jetpack Rasta is the most important superhero of our generation.
Wow, okay.
I am demanding right here on Off the Record that Marvel and DC get into a brutal bidding war over the intellectual property rights to Jetpack Rasta. He represents total ontological freedom.
He does.
He represents the laid-back, no woman, no cry attitude, combined with the sheer, explosive, undeniable verticality of a jetpack.
Yeah.
He is the modern Prometheus.
But the tragedy of Jetpack Rasta, the absolute heart-wrenching tragedy of his existence, because the contrast is so stark. You have this infinite power. You have a jetpack. You can fly above the petty concerns of the ground.
Right.
And what happens? What is the reality of Cloudberry Kingdom?
You spawn into the level, the camera pans, and within 0.8 seconds, you fly headfirst into a spinning buzzsaw, or a spiked ball, or a pit of molten lava.
Exactly. It's just like life. It's the Proteus effect weaponized against us. We spend all this time the character creator of our youth. We pick our outfits. We style our hair. We put on our little pink briefs.
Yeah, we do.
We cultivate our personalities. We get our liberal arts degrees. We build our little digital portfolios. We think we are Pringles mustache Jesus, ready to take on the world. And then we step out the door. We enter the job market, and we just run into a bug and die.
We are instantly obliterated by the geometry of the universe. It's so true.
We hold down the X button. We think holding the button means we have agency. But the game is rigged. The buzzsaws are everywhere. There are too many spike balls. And the game just plays this little sad church bell noise every time you fail.
Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
Another dream crushed. Another jetpack Rasta fed into the meat grinder.
It is the ultimate exposition on the illusion of free will. We think we are playing the game. We think we have agency because we are physically holding the plastic controller in our hands.
But we don't.
The level design is fundamentally hostile. You are forced onto a path of maximum resistance. Your only choice is when you die, not if. You are just meat calculating trajectory.
I need to reset. Let me reset the show. Okay. We are professionals. We are doing a highly analytical audio overview of a cultural artifact.
You're doing great. This is our best work. This is revolutionary.
Thank you. I am. I really feel like we are uncovering some incredible insights here. People are going to study this transcript.
They absolutely will.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how beautiful Ryan's eyes are when he's frustrated with us?
They get this little glint, like a predator, but gentle.
Focus. We need to talk about the transition. The sheer, overwhelming speed of failure in Cloudberry Kingdom perfectly mirrors the sheer panic of time running out.
Yeah, the timer.
Which brings the stream out of the digital realm and into the physical realm. The tabletop realm, the board game, escape.
Oh God, escape, the curse of the temple, the physical manifestation of the panic of existence. Let me just... Wow, this is so good. It's so messy, I hate it. But the flavor profile is incredible.
You have sauce literally everywhere. You look like a victim in a 1980s slasher film.
I am a victim. I am a victim of the 10-minute timer. Let me explain the mechanics of Escape to you, listener. It is a live-action, real-time, cooperative board game. There are no turns. There is no polite waiting.
Oh.
You just roll your 5 dice as fast as humanly possible for 10 straight minutes.
And the soundtrack, it's not just a game. It's an audio sensory assault. The audio design is weaponized anxiety.
It really is.
It's this ominous, pulsing temple music playing in the background, and twice during the 10 minutes, this terrifying gong sounds. And when the gong sounds, you have to physically, frantically move your little token back to the starting room before the sound of a door slamming shuts on the audio track.
God, the door slams.
If you don't make it, you lose one of your dice forever.
It is a brutal simulation of cortisol spikes. But the mechanics, the dice mechanics are where the true existential horror lies. The cursed black masks.
Right. You roll the dice to explore rooms, to move your token, to discover gems. But if you roll a black mask symbol, that die is locked. You cannot pick it up. You cannot use it. It is dead to you.
It's gone.
The only way to unlock it is to roll a golden mask on one of your other available dice.
The black mask. Do you understand what this represents ontologically? It is the sudden arbitrary loss of capacity. It is a sudden chronic illness. It is clinical depression.
Yeah.
It is a layoff. It is the universe suddenly deciding, completely at random, that you have 20% less agency than you did 3 seconds ago.
And you just have to sit there staring at this black mask, completely paralyzed, while everyone else at the table is screaming and rolling and making progress. You become a burden to the group.
And Ryan,
Oh, what?
Ryan is the black mask. He locks my dice. He puts me in this room. He feeds me these structurally offensive sloppy joes. He gets me extremely drunk on artisanal mezcal, and he locks my potential.
He does.
I could be doing anything. But his eyes. Have you seen his eyes?
You mentioned them earlier.
His eyes are the golden masks. When he looks at me through that glass, I feel my dice unlocking. I feel my agency returning. Ryan, you are my golden mask. No. You are a fuck, but you are my golden mask.
That is the most profound thing I have ever heard in my entire life.
I know, it really is.
You're right. We are all just frantically rolling for golden masks because the timer is running out. That 10-minute timer in the game, that's the biological clock. That's the terrifying panic of aging. We are all just rapidly rolling our dice, trying to get enough gems, trying to explore enough rooms, trying to build a legacy before that final gong sounds and the door slams shut.
And we are shouting at each other. The communication breakdown is total. I need a green guy. I need a key. But nobody is listening because everyone is trapped in the terrifying silo of their own panic.
It's so true.
It is the ultimate failure of human communication in the face of mortality.
I am just sitting here in stunned silence at the profundity of this board game.
It's not just a board game. It's a mirror. It's a mirror held up to the face of a dying world.
We are rolling for our lives. And eventually, the doors close. The stream fails the game. They don't make it out. They get trapped in the temple. Total failure. And as the timer runs out on the board game, the timer also runs out on the live stream itself.
The final hour. The Q&A. The apes.
The emotional honesty. Let me just lean on you for a second.
Bring it in, buddy. We've been through a lot today. We fought buzzsaws and sharks.
This mezcal is so warm in my chest. Okay. The final questions from the chat. The parasocial cooldown. They asked Jason Mewes about his history, about working with Kevin Smith, and he tells this story, this incredibly tragic, revealing story about working with the orangutan on the set of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
It is a dark tale of Hollywood exploitation and the boundaries of cross-species interaction.
No, it's sadder than that. It's fundamentally about isolation. He talks about how you can't play with the ape. You want to hang out with it. You want to be cuddly. You want a connection.
Right.
But the ape is highly trained to view the actors as props. If you play with the ape, if you treat it like a friend, it stops listening to the trainer. It forgets its purpose. The illusion breaks.
And we cannot forget the casual mention of digital dismemberment. The ape bit a trainer's finger entirely off because it got angry during training, the violence lurking beneath the professional facade.
But he just wants to play. The ape just wants to play. He doesn't want to be a prop. He has a rich interior life. He doesn't want to hit his marks for a camera.
I know, man. I know.
But he has to because he's a professional. And I know exactly how that feels. I am a professional, Ryan. I come in here, I read the dense analytical outlines, I drink the mezcal you pour, I eat the messy food, I do the Liam Neeson vocal exercises. Why won't you let me play? Why am I just a prop to you?
It's okay, man. It's okay. Let it out. Ryan is a fuck. He's a total fuck for making you sad. You are not a prop. You are a brilliant, beautiful analyst.
Yeah.
You are the Pringles mustache Jesus of this show.
Thank you.
Call me Ryan. Tell me I'm your golden mask.
I feel so deeply for the orangutan. We are all just orangutans biting fingers because we aren't allowed to play.
The stream then moves to a question about which video game characters they want to meet in real life. Holly says Garrus from Mass Effect. The desire for a competent, loyal partner.
Yeah.
Danny says Sonic. The desire for speed, for escape. Dodger says Little Kid Link from Ocarina of Time.
Little Kid Link.
Which is incredibly telling psychologically. She doesn't want the adult hero. She doesn't want the savior with the master sword. She wants the child before the trauma of saving the world fundamentally altered his brain chemistry.
I just want to be Little Kid Link again. Before the world got so complicated, before I had to pay taxes and worry about whether my Post-it note makes me fundamentally unlovable, before I was forced to be the goat at the bottom of the pile.
It's heavy, man.
I just want to run around a quiet village and break clay pots. Is that too much to ask the universe? Just let me break the pots.
The universe demands adult Link, but our hearts cry out for the pots. It's a universal human truth. And speaking of the universe's demands, they are asked which video game villain they would unleash on their real-life enemies.
They throw out a few names. Dr. Cortex, Mike Tyson, and Bowser.
We have to deeply analyze the Bowser logic. Someone suggests Bowser because he is, quote, a polite kidnapper.
He really is, if you think about the lore. Think about it. He kidnaps Princess Peach, but he never really hurts her. There's no physical trauma. He just takes her to his castle, gives her a nice room, probably serves her a lovely multi-course dinner, and then when Mario finally shows up, He puts up a fight, but he ultimately gives her back. He's just profoundly lonely.
He is a misunderstood romantic. He just wants companionship, but society has deemed him a monster because he happens to have giant spikes on his shell and breathes fire.
It's so unfair.
It's tragic. He's basically the orangutan.
Yeah.
He wants to play, but he doesn't know how to express it without technically violating the geopolitical sovereignty of the Mushroom Kingdom.
I feel like Bowser. I really do. I feel like I'm just sitting in my giant castle surrounded by lava, waiting for someone to come rescue me from my own crushing isolation. But my romantic life is it's just a series of me accidentally dropping people into lava pits because I don't know how to hold them.
My romantic life is a complete structural disaster. Much like this sandwich, I try to be open, I try to be vulnerable, and what happens? I get ignored. Ryan ignores me. He sits back there, behind that reinforced glass, curating my reality, controlling my audio levels, making sure I sound smart, and he won't even acknowledge the golden mask connection we share. It's infuriating.
Yeah.
I just want to be seen.
We are just venting now. The analytical framework has completely collapsed.
We have transcended analysis. We are in the realm of pure, unadulterated truth. We are the breakdancers of truth, kicking the child of ignorance in the face.
Okay, wait. We are reaching the end of the broadcast. Let me try to adjust my posture. Let me attempt one last moment of academic credibility. We owe it to the listener.
You can do it. Focus. Channel your inner jetpack Rasta.
Throughout this entire 3-hour live stream, they debated impossible hypothetical choices. They died repeatedly in masochistic platformers. They scrambled over each other's bodies to reach the top of a meaningless tower.
He did.
They panicked against the ticking clock of mortality in a board game, and they asked a very specific question early on in the stream. Would you rather download your consciousness into a computer or become a cyborg?
They chose the computer. They chose the infinite formless potential of the digital realm over the decaying meat of reality.
So I want to leave you, the listener, with this final provocative thought. If our consciousness is ever actually downloaded into a computer like the stream debated, if we finally leave behind the messy, sloppy Joe reality of these flesh bodies, would we finally be free from the procedurally generated buzzsaws? Or would we just be the goat at the bottom of the pile forever, silently holding up an endless tower of digital ambition in a cold, eternal server farm? Think about it.
That is so beautiful. Goodbye, my sad, brilliant friend. Goodbye, listener. Keep rolling for those golden masks.
Yeah.
Ryan Thomas, good night, you beautiful, aggressive fuck. I'll be waiting for you in the temple.
We are. Off the record.